Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nasdaq with Arshia back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to use the PEG ratio to determine if we are in a stock market bubble or not, and which stocks are a good buy right now. So before we begin, I want to say I'm not a financial advisor and you should always do your own due diligence and research supporting about an investment scheme. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first, I'm going to show you guys all the PE ratios of the 5 major companies of the S&P. 5 major companies of the S&P are Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. Now, Facebook was formerly known as Facebook, now known as Meta. So the P ratio of Meta is 23.73. Google is 26.93. P ratio of Apple is 30.83. P ratio of Microsoft is 34.68. P ratio of Amazon is 63.41. Now, why am I showing you this? Is because we're going to determine the PEG ratio based on this. So the PEG ratio is basically price to the PE ratio divided by the earnings growth rate over the last 5 years or so, because we need maximum time limit of 5 years to determine whether we are in a bubble or not. Just a general rule. So the PE ratio, hang on. So the PE ratio would be divided by the earnings growth ratio PE divided by G, the earnings growth ratio, or G in this scenario. So the PE ratio of all these companies would average out to be about 38. And if you divide 38 by the growth rate of all these average companies, which I'm going to show you the growth rate in a minute. The growth rate on all of these, as you can see, Microsoft 25.7%, Apple 22%, Amazon 101.8%, Facebook 50.8%, and Google 20.7%. All of this would average out, if we take the mean or median of them, and then this would average out to be about 25%. So we're going to go to the whiteboard and we're going to divide our average PE ratio by the average earnings growth rate for 5 years. And this is going to equal to about 1.5. And this actually means that the market is neither undervalued nor overvalued, because a PEG ratio should be no more, and I repeat, no more than a 1.5. Because if it's more than 1.5 on like an average of the stocks like this, if we're averaging the stocks of the S&P or the S&P itself, if it's more than 1.5, then that means either the stock is not a good buy or the market is overvalued, or both. In both cases, you want to avoid that particular stock or the market. So if it's below 1.5, then the stock is undervalued and should require more attention from investors, and it's a good buy. Okay. So for the stock scenario, to determine if it's a good buy or not, we'll do the exact same thing except before. We won't take the average of the market, the leading stocks of the market. Let's do an example on Apple. So Apple's earnings rate is 22%, right? We're going to go to the whiteboard and we're going to write that down. So I have my eraser on. 22%, and then I'm going to write that down, and then we're going to go and find the PE ratio that we said earlier. The PE ratio that we said earlier was about 30.83. So I'm gonna go to the back of the whiteboard. I'm not sharing my screen, that way your guys' time won't be wasted. So 30.83, we divide this, and you can use a calculator for this, but I've done it. So it equals to about 1.401 of a PE ratio. Oh, damn. 401, excuse my handwriting. 1.401. And that means the stock is a little undervalued, not too expensive, but not too cheap either, just mostly in the middle. And right now it's a good stock to buy. And if we do Facebook, let's do another example on Facebook. So Facebook earnings, according to the demographic, I'm looking at the demographic right now. Facebook earnings are 50.8. So Facebook earnings, 50.8. I'm just going to share my screen so you guys can see the diagram again. So Facebook 50.8 as earnings growth rate. We're going to go to the whiteboard and write that down. So 50.8. I'm going to put a bar above it because we need to put the PE ratio in there first. So we're doing it on Facebook. Facebook has the least PE ratio of all of them, 23.73. I'm going back to the whiteboard. 23.73. And this actually equals to a PEG ratio about 0.4, which means the stock is severely undervalued and it is a great buy right now for the long-term market. And all of this also means that we are not in a bubble. I repeat, we are not in a bubble. There's no need to panic. Don't listen to anybody else who says, oh my God, we're in a bubble. Start selling your stocks. No, please don't. Don't do it. Okay. So this was our last example. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this information helpful, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you made it till the end, please comment powder puff in the comments below so I know you made it till the end with me. Thank you so much and see you on the moon. Bye bye.